What's up, guys? So we're here with RM17, this 1970 Dodge Charger, and just kind of want to walk through some cool things that we found that we think are really cool. So this is the original data plate for this car, and these were originally bolted in, I think, on the front fender, yeah?
Yeah, up in this area or back
somewhere up in here. And when we bought this car, it was kind of, a project car that was half done, maybe more than half done, but
it's a good 80%, I guess.
Yeah, there was a lot of it was there, and it was kind of cool to see what that builder had put into this car, but it's also really cool to see what the car was originally built with. So we took this data plate, and it's kind of hard to read. You can see it's kind of corroded in there, but we can flip it around, and it's actually really easy to read. Just the inverse kind of mirror image, but pretty cool. And this was originally on the car when it was produced in 1970, and thanks to this data plate, we can tell you exactly which day it was produced in 1970, which I think coincidentally is September 24th, 1970 in St. Louis, Missouri. So we'll kind of walk through some of these pages, and I've got Esparza here to talk about the original options on the car, and then also what's been done, what engine is in it now, and some of the other changes we've made since it came out of the factory.
So yeah, it looks like some of the stuff people are mostly interested in is like the color and the trim. So this car was what did you say the color was called?
I think it's a light green metallic.
Light green metallic with a white vinyl top is what we found. But the engine, this car was originally a E63 code, which is a 383 4-barrel. And if I'm not mistaken, those topped out at around like 325 horsepower for the high performance version. So that engine's long gone. We got something a lot stronger in here now, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But this one, this was a 4-speed manual car, so that's pretty cool. A lot of times the manual cars actually have a completely different transmission tunnel. So when you switch from an automatic to a manual, you either have to replace that tunnel or do something different. So it's kind of nice. This car does have a 4-speed still in it, so I like that.
I wish we could see if it came with the pistol grip option or not.
Yeah, because 70, that would be the year.
That was the first year they did it, right?
Yep. Okay, so here, you have this circle, the light green metallic. So green is pretty common. They had a lot of cool colors, but you can almost see how many. There's green go, there's sublime, which is also a green, dark green metallic, light green metallic. So they were real hip on greens. I mean, it was 1970, so that was like kind of the popular thing back then. So
here at restomodded.com, we're super excited to announce our latest giveaway, this 1975 Dodge Ram Charger, and is our easiest giveaway yet to enter. You've watched us give away 15 insane cars over the last 4.5 years. So all you gotta do to get entered to win this truck right here is hit that subscribe button, that notification bell below, and when we get to 100,000 subscribers, we are gonna pick one of you guys to take this truck home. Hit that subscribe button, don't be left out when we hit 100,000 and we give this truck away to a lucky subscriber.
And you can see the interior. This one is white and black. Obviously now this car is just all black everywhere, which is cooler, in my opinion, but we modified it, so it's definitely different. Vinyl buckets, which is kind of cool. You could get a bench. This one had buckets, which have been replaced with newer Charger buckets. Month of manufacture, so you can basically see this car's birth date right there.
Yeah, well, they have the day in there too on the first page, I think. They actually pull out, the day of the month code. It was made on September 24th, 1970.
There it is. So now you know when to celebrate if you win this car, September 24th.
You got its birthday.
That's it. And then, so this is actually engine specs from the gentleman we bought it from, Travis Schmidt. So he spent the money in the right place. This engine is really nice, and it feels nice. So we've driven other big blocks, and this one like revs up quick, makes good power, and that's because all the good parts that are put in it. So we'll kind of go over that, but these are kind of just the hard facts of the engine here. So it's kind of good to know. You know your compression ratio, 9.8 to 1. And then he goes over just like all the cool stuff, like the ring width, the connecting rod length, the cylinder bore. So you have all the details here. And these are good things to know, because when an engine is built, this is when you can find all this out. And if you just buy a used engine or something, you don't really know all this. And then right here is what I really like. So you can see this engine is a 400, which is a big block, but it's not the 383 it came with, and it's not the 440 that people talk about so much. This is a 400. And it's out of a 77 Chrysler. So probably in stock form, this thing was kind of anemic. It probably didn't make a lot of power, but it's got the cubic inches and everything's been replaced internally on this. There's just a long list of really good parts from all the right places. So some of the things that I really like is the crankshaft and the H-beam connecting rods. So this is basically what they call an all forged internals engine, which is strong. You know, this thing will make power reliably and you're not gonna break any parts. These parts aren't really stressed at this power level, which is what you want. High volume oil pump, you can see that this thing has great oil pressure, even when warm. All the bearings he goes through, billet rear main seal retainer, which is an upgrade. These things are notorious for leaky rear mains, so that's been upgraded. You can see he's got hydraulic lifters in here. He's got the camshaft with the part number, so you know all the specs on the cam. And then the heads, 440 sourced stealth aluminum cylinder heads, bare. So it looks like he bought bare heads and had them built out exactly how he wanted with the valves and everything that he wanted. But that's why this thing makes all that power, is those heads. And it goes in also that when they were assembling this, those heads and intake, it's all port matched. So the airflow going through the intake is just completely port matched to the port on the head. So you don't get any restrictions, any interruptions, any turbulence in the airflow. Really cool high performance thing, really nice touch. Just shows you all the detail they put in this, just the engine, you know. So we'll go over a little bit more. So it's got the 1.6 aluminum rocker arms. So once again, everything is upgraded. It's got a pro billet distributor, ARP hardware everywhere, which is really key. No old hardware on this engine, nothing that is questionable. ARP is like top-notch stuff, plenty good for everything this engine's doing. Same thing, he's upgraded the water pump housing, the actual water pump, and then the machine work done by Kalsh Machine, engine assembly and blueprinting. So this thing was blueprinted, which is nice, which means they go through and they match all the components so that this thing has a smooth rotating assembly. Usually you hear balanced and blueprinted. Basically, they just balance everything. So all your connecting rods are within a certain spec and weight, so you don't get any weird vibrations or anything like that. And to be honest, this engine, you can tell how much work they put in it because it's so snappy. Like for a big block, it just revs up right away and it just feels, it's really fun to drive an engine like that. It wants to get into those RPM ranges really quick and it makes the power really quick. We've had a lot of other, you know, higher cubic inch big block engines that probably make a little more torque, but they just drive differently. You know, they make low end torque, so you know you're not in the high RPM range. And with a stick shift, getting this thing up in the RPM, super fun. I really appreciate the time and effort that he put into having this engine built. So shout out to Travis for that, and I'm just glad we had to have our fun with it for the meantime until it gets passed on to the winner.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of just a little bit on the performance side, and thank you for that technical walkthrough.
Yeah.
For like a layperson like me, understanding a lot of that stuff in terms that you hear, you know, at car shows or guys talking about things. A lot of times you're just nodding your head. So it's cool to really understand some of those terms behind it and how much work and money went into this engine. And remember, you guys can win this thing. We're in the last 2 weeks, I think. Jeremy, are we in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, final 2 weeks.
Final 2 weeks of RM17, and we'll be handing somebody the keys to this 1970 Dodge Charger, so make sure you have your entries for that. And we will, of course, give you all of the information about the engine and the original data plate and everything else. We have a ton of paperwork on this car, as well as all the different changes that we made to it as well. We'll go to the winner. So make sure you're entered to win RM17. Good luck.